Just finished the Hoosier Slick 6-inch tire swap, under 5 minutes. No video proof though. Now we got Chris who's gonna show the new way to secure your hub bolts.
Yeah, so one of my hub bolts was stripped from the factory, and it was I couldn't even get the 5mm socket into it, the hex key. So through a lot of research, luckily Sean Nelson figured out the bolt spec, and I got the exact bolts, and I'll include the specs in the description of the video, but I got fresh ones. Now, you've seen my other videos about tightening the hub bolts, and there's a couple things I need to add, because I actually spoke with one of the engineers at Race for the Rail, and he gave me the actual torque spec and how they do it. And it is a 28 Newton meters. I'll put that in the description also. And you actually need to use a torque wrench, but you use 2 wrenches, and that's the trick. And I didn't know that until he told me. If you look at their wheel hub here, this metal piece, it doesn't really look like a place to put it. And you could use a really big wrench if you have it and hit the whole thing, but I don't. But if you put it here, you can get a nice grip with 1 wrench. And your other wrench, use a torque wrench or whatever. And so that's a good way to get your bolts off or on. Now this is one we just took off at Jamie's, and this one, it had loosened. They'd like to loosen. And in my other videos, if you saw, I always used the threadlock blue, and it always keep coming off. The threadlock blue just is not strong enough. Now, somebody in one of my other YouTube video comment section is a mechanic, and it seems to know his stuff. So they use thread tape, just regular old thread tape that plumbers use, and he said it's much better than the threadlocker. And I'm finding that to be the case. And he said, I did exactly the way he said, and I've done it on a couple now, and they're really holding up well. You take from the top, if you're looking down on the threads of the screw, you go clockwise about 3 turns. So you go like 1, 2, 3, about 3 full rotations, and then you just pull it and it stops. So then, that's it. So then you got to do this carefully, because you don't want to strip the screw like this. Once your thread's nice and clean. So I don't use an extension. You get 1 wrench on, and a torque wrench set to 28 Newton meters. And you tighten carefully. I'm starting to feel the resistance, so I know that thread tape is working. We'll see how well it holds. This is Jamie T's board, and he puts these things through some abuse. If you've never used a torque wrench before, once you set it, you pull it until it clicks. There's the click. Just one more time to verify, and that's it. And we're done. So hopefully this is going to work out a lot better, and we'll see over time how well it holds up.
Benefits of living next to Chris Richardson.